Arriving at Osgoode Station. Doors will open on the left. Line 1, towards on. Please stand clear of the doors.
Hello everyone, it is Saturday, March the 6th. The time is 1:45 p.m. and the temperature outside is minus 3 degrees Celsius. And I am here at Osgoode Station in downtown Toronto. And the plan for this one is to head on up to Queen Street West. And then I'll go for a stroll to the west to somewhere around Trinity Bellwoods Park. And there's a look to the east along Queen Street. And this is the last day of the province's, or the last Saturday of the province's rather half-assed stay-at-home order. As of Monday, the City of Toronto will be moving into the gray zone. So I thought I would go for a walk along one of the busier retail stretches of the city. It's also one of my favorite places to go for a walk in Toronto, as most of these retailers will be able to open at least with a limited customer capacity on Monday. But for reasons I don't really understand, bars and restaurants, along with salons and personal care services, and gyms and any entertainment such as cinemas and places like that will not be able to open on Monday. Or in the case of bars and restaurants, they will not be able to serve customers indoors or outdoors unless it's takeout only. So there's certainly been a lot of people in the city that are disappointed over that decision. And I'll talk a little bit about that as I make my way over to the west here. Here is Duncan Street. And a look south at the CN Tower. And here's the old City TV building. It's now part of Bell Globe Media. So I'll probably come back to this part of Queen Street West in the weeks to come to see how much busier it is once all these stores are allowed to properly open. Although regarding the restaurants, 2 weeks ago, the region of York, which is just to the north of the city of Toronto and shares a border at Steeles Avenue, moved into the province's red zone, which does allow for indoor and outdoor dining and personal care services, despite having a very similar case level to the city of Toronto. Yet, Toronto and Peel were not even moved into the gray zone at that time. They were left with the stay-at-home order in place. And a lot of people certainly felt that there's rather strong favoritism towards York. And it's not the first time the province has dealt them a better hand. And without getting too granular, as per the metrics laid out in the province's own framework, the city of Toronto should have been in the red zone 2 weeks ago. Red is one stage better than gray. And I think a big part of that is that the city of Toronto actually requested to remain in lockdown 2 weeks ago, and for this period coming on Monday, they requested to be in the gray zone rather than the red zone. So I think the province is a pretty easy argument to make. They can just say they're complying with the request of the city of Toronto. And I read a rather interesting post on Twitter by a local business owner in Toronto. He owns the Irv Gastropub, which is over on Carlton Street, and I have been there a few times and can vouch that it's an excellent place. Let me see if I can fumble with my phone here and pull up his Twitter post. I don't usually use Twitter. Let me try to find it here on my web browser. And there's a look south down Peter Street. And there's where the Gap used to be. So this was an open letter to John Tory and Dr. Eileen Davila. She's the city's top doctor from Reagan Irvine, who is the owner of the Irv Gastropub. It's a little difficult to read from a phone and walk at the same time. And in that letter, he cites that, I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but as of 3 days ago, it had been 144 days in the city since restaurants were able to have indoor dining, and over 100 days since patio dining has been allowed. And he notes that numerous business owners during the pandemic have had to cash in their RRSPs. They've drained their savings accounts. They've maxed out credit cards and their lines of credit, and have incurred enormous debts. And that the government assistance programs in place, or assistance programs, haven't been nearly enough in a lot of cases. And the letter also highlights the fact that The city is virtually ignoring the large growth of mental illness, suicide, divorce, domestic violence, as well as drug and alcohol abuse. And I would have to say I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. We're at a point now where, as I mentioned, as per the province's own framework, we should be looking at open restaurants and bars and other businesses. And the city hasn't provided any type of data or scientific basis for substantiating being in the gray zone with the lockdown as tight as it is. When you watch the press conferences, it's really John Tory and his scarf-wearing friend spouting a lot of doom and gloom, but what we don't get to see are economic experts or social services experts and mental health experts talking about all the ill effects of these lockdown restrictions. And this is Spadina Avenue. So I don't have much more to say on it than that. I'm not an expert, and I've been more than happy to comply with much of what we've been requested to do here, such as wearing masks when indoors and on transit. But I certainly think we're at the point where these measures are too extreme. And we're probably causing a lot more harm than what's being prevented, but they're not providing the data or the science behind it. So it really looks like restaurants and gyms and hair salons are being scapegoated. And I think there's a growing sentiment amongst the people of Toronto, even those that were very pro-lockdown, it's a bit of a case of the boy who cried wolf, especially when it comes to our friend Dr. Scarf. But you're free to disagree with me. This isn't a political channel. I just thought I would share my opinions on the matter. Here's another opinion. That guy should not be on the sidewalk. So for a Saturday afternoon with relatively light traffic, I can't imagine how excited some of these business owners must be to be able to open up again and have people come into their stores. And in my experience, the smaller retailers, including the restaurants, have been a lot more careful and responsible than the big box retailers, who have pretty much been allowed to operate without any sort of pushback at all. Cannaverse, there's yet another new cannabis shop. They aren't running streetcars on the western part of the Queen line here. That's why you see the buses. I actually posted a bus ride along Queen Street East that was uploaded to my Johnny Stumbles channel. That one went up this morning. There's a look in towards Graffiti Alley. And this ride runs just south of this part of Queen Street. And you can access that from Queen and Spadina, just south of there, if you want to walk along the entire length. Hello? Oh, I just got spotted. That has been happening more and more these days. Here is Portland Street and the Fashion District. The area just to the south of here was previously home to a rather thriving textile industry. And that is a look to the south. And there's the Velvet Underground. And New York Subs and Burritos. I'm trying to think if they relocated or not. I seem to remember them being a little closer to Bathurst Street, but I might be wrong on that. So it was previously right next to a Subway. I wonder if that Subway just closed down. And coming up is Bathurst Street, so I will be entering the West Queen West neighborhood.
The one that Friday, so it'd been like 2 weeks ago.
And I'm thinking of doing a live stream right after recording this video, so I might set that up at Trinity Bellwoods Park. I'm thinking I'll go for a walk north of Ossington. There's a look southbound Bathurst. It's the West Neighborhood House. They do a lot of good work in there. This French pastry shop seems to be doing pretty well. And coming up is Palmerston. As I mentioned, this is always one of my favorite routes to go for a walk through the city. Bloor Street to the north of here is another one. This is probably the longest continuously vibrant stretch in the city. As it stays like this all the way through Parkdale to Roncy. The sign for the rack is still here. I thought they went under, but apparently not. That's a bar and pool hall. This Nando's Chicken, though, disappeared along with their Danforth location. And that happened during the pandemic. And you really have to wonder how many more businesses would be around if there were just better assistance programs in place. And I had the camera pointed in the wrong direction as that guy's glasses hit the sidewalk. Here's an Express beer store. We did get one good piece of good news lately. The LCBO is now open on Mondays. That's the provincially run liquor store. Although I've been trying to make an effort to order directly from craft breweries online. For those that do shop through the LCBO, it never really made sense for them to close on Mondays. You think that would just make them more crowded the rest of the week. I think that was clearly a cost-saving measure on their part. There's Sanko, a Japanese food and gift shop. And I've almost arrived at Trinity Bellwoods. So I think what I'll do is I'll just walk north through the park and end this video when I get to the north side, which is at Dundas Street. There's a look south down Niagara Street. That'll bend to the east. The Roasted Nut, Nuttery and Cafe. I'm trying to recall if I've ever been there or not. So there's Trinity Bellwoods, and it looks like the tennis courts are being utilized. Surely that's a sign that we're almost in spring. I think that'll be either the last or second last week of this month. It's hard to think just a year ago, people were thinking this whole ordeal wasn't going to be much ado about anything. I always thought this property was pretty neat, although I couldn't really tell you a whole lot about it.
Oh yeah, that's from I hated it. Where is it? Her hair's like black. You don't want it?
Looks like there's a pretty big line at a couple of these establishments. There's Maddie's Patties. I have yet to try them. And here is Strawn Avenue. So this is one of, if not probably, the most popular of Toronto's urban parks. And it's developed into something of a tent city as of late. And some of these must be those controversial wooden shelters that the mayor of Toronto fought so hard against. clothing optional section. I've been through this park before and talked a bit about the history here. There's an old college building just up here on the left.
I feel like sometimes you can kind of
There's a bridge that's buried in the park. And an interesting bowl that is quite well utilized by tobogganers in the winter. And near where I entered the park, there's a row of cherry trees that will be in bloom at some point, maybe in April or June. Ooh, look what we have here. I don't think I pose any threat at all to a squirrel.
One letter off.
Here's the large sunken bowl.
Why are we leaving? Oh, look at the other bigger dog.
There's a look towards the CN Tower. Speaking of which, I just posted a picture on Instagram of the CN Tower. I'm currently at 1,999 Instagram followers. So if that's something you might be interested in, head on over there and maybe you can be lucky number 2,000. Looks like these stairs here have been closed off. No winter maintenance of walkway and stairs. Well, it says use at own risk. It doesn't say don't use them. If it said not to use them, I wouldn't. I don't mind taking some risk. There's the ice rink and a baseball field and Dundas Street West. There's a market that they hold in that part of the park, but I don't think we'll see that anytime soon. And I don't know when the city plans on closing these ice rinks, but some of them have already shut down, such as the one at the Bentway. I don't know why, I'm kind of running out of breath right now. Maybe it was that slow, gradual walk up those stairs. I must be getting old. Well, at least they're not blasting garish music at this one. And I think this is Gorevale Avenue. I know I said I would walk up to Dundas Street, but I think this is as good a spot as any to end this one. So on that note, I hope you enjoyed this walk along Queen Street West and up through Trinity Bellwoods Park. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. You can also check out my other channel, Johnny Stumbles. I'll be posting videos there quite regularly, as well as doing some live streams. And if you wish to support the channel, I do have a link to Patreon in the description, and you can check out channel memberships on the main page. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.